Welcome back. Here's a quick recap of the story so far. Raon finally found a red sword that caught his attention. As he takes it in his hand, the sword attempts to take control of his body. However, Raon manages to overpower it and, in a decisive moment, promises the sword that he will seek revenge if their paths cross with the sword's enemies. This earns him the sword's acceptance, and it chooses Raon as its master. Raon then names the sword, sealing their bond. If you're new here or need a refresher, I highly recommend checking out the previous episode to catch up before diving into this thrilling chapter. Now that we're all up to speed, a quick heads up, my old PC gave up on me, and I'm hoping you can help me upgrade it. Your support would mean the world. Alright, without further ado, let's dive right in. As Raon began to leave, he turned to the blacksmith with a nod of appreciation. Thank you for providing us with such great blades. I didn't expect that we'd get a sword for regular use as well as the blade of Requiem. The blacksmith's face lit up with a warm smile, and he replied, "Don't feel pressured. Having a sword used by a promising swordsman is the biggest honor for a blacksmith." As Raon walked away, he turned his head and called out with a hint of a smile, "We'll prepare a warm reception for you if you visit Sieghart." The blacksmith chuckled and replied, "All right, I'll be hoping that you safely become a swordsman." The blacksmith's eyes followed Raon's retreating figure, his expression thoughtful and introspective. He murmured to himself, "I thought he was just a child with excellent talent, but..." The blacksmith's eyes widened slightly as he stood there, frozen in thought. He managed to take control of the ghastly blade and even became the master of it, he thought to himself, a mixture of surprise and awe on his face. The blacksmith's thoughts shifted, and he murmured to himself, "Unification with the blade." He paused, reconsidering, and then his expression changed to one of conviction. No, he has the potential to achieve even more than that. With a resolute smile, the blacksmith thought to himself, Sieghart's name is going to echo throughout the world once again. Days pass. The landscape had transformed dramatically as Raon and Dorian journeyed north, leaving the warmer climes of Camelun behind. Now, they found themselves traversing a vast expanse of snow-covered terrain. The monotony of the snowy landscape had begun to feel almost familiar, but that sense of routine was shattered as they ventured deeper into the forest. Raon's thoughts were interrupted by the gruesome sight of dead monster bodies strewn about, and Dorian's reaction was immediate. He clung to Raon in sheer fear, his eyes wide with terror as they navigated through the carnage-filled woods. As they emerged from the forest or traversed the final stretch of their journey, Raon's voice carried a mix of relief and accomplishment. "Ha! We've finally arrived." As Raon gazed up at the imposing structure before him, he thought to himself, "We finally reached Haben Castle, the place of our graduation exam." Dorian's face contorted in disgust as he covered his mouth, struggling to hold back a wave of nausea. "Bled, what is that stench?" he thought to himself, his mind recoiling from the putrid smell. Meanwhile, Wrath's reaction was starkly different. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he inhaled deeply, his voice rising in a triumphant cry, "Wawa! It's the air of a battlefield, it makes the King of Essence feel alive." Raon's gaze fell on Dorian's pale face, and he spoke up with a mix of concern and amusement. "Dorian, why are you like that when we've finally arrived? It's not like there were any hardships on our way." Dorian's eyes widened in incredulity as he stared at Raon, his voice rising in a shocked shout, "Are you serious saying that now?" Dorian's thoughts drifted back to their journey, and he couldn't help but recall the grueling training sessions with Raon. As they approached Haben Castle, the cold had grown more biting, but Raon's response to Dorian's complaints was consistent. "Move your body." He remembered Raon's relentless critiques of his sword stance, from dawn till dusk, with barely a break even when they were traveling. The memory made Dorian's expression darken, being forced to swing his sword repeatedly during the night watch. Dorian's face reddened with frustration as he recalled the sleepless nights and grueling training sessions. "I couldn't sleep at all during the entire journey because of that," he shouted at Raon. "Do you really think that it makes any sense to say that there was no hardship?" Wrath chimed in, his voice laced with amusement as he sided with Dorian. "That dullard is right for once. You should train in moderation. The King of Essence can't get any comfortable rest either because of you." After hearing both Dorian's outburst and Wrath's biting comment, Raon's expression faltered, and he became speechless. Just as the tension between Dorian, Raon, and Wrath seemed to be simmering, a knight emerged from the castle gates, his voice authoritative and slightly disapproving. "Are you the new mercenaries that were supposed to arrive?" he asked, his gaze sweeping over the duo before settling on Raon. "You are late compared to the scheduled arrival time." The knight introduced himself. "My name is Terion. I'm the vice commander of the castle." His demeanor exuded a sense of authority and responsibility, and his words carried weight as he represented the castle's leadership. Tyrion continues, and your superior officer, who will be leading you from now on. Raon spoke up. Yes, I'm looking forward to working with you. Tyrion's gaze shifted to Dorian, who had collapsed to the ground. Tyrion's expression turned concerned, and he asked Raon, by the way, is he really okay? Raon's response was nonchalant, don't worry about it, this happens all the time. Tyrion's eyebrow arched slightly at Raon's casual tone, and he replied, I see, follow me. As Raon followed Tyrion, he dragged Dorian along by the back, prompting Dorian to groggily come to. Dorian, stop doing that and stand up, walk on your own, Raon said, his tone firm but somewhat amused. Dorian, still clearly exhausted and displeased, grumbled out a response, let me go home. As they followed Tyrion, Raon glanced around, taking in the castle's surroundings and the people within. His gaze swept over the castle walls, the guards, and the various individuals going about their duties. Raon's thoughts turned critical as he surveyed the castle's environment, his expression grim. The environment is even worse than what I heard, he thought to himself. The walls bore scars of repeated destruction and repair, a testament to the castle's tumultuous past. The residents, too, looked exhausted, their faces etched with worry and fatigue. As Raon's gaze wandered, it landed on a tombstone, and he paused for a moment, his eyes lingering on the somber reminder of loss. The air was heavy with the stench of blood and the acrid smell of burning corpses, a grim reality that seemed to have seeped into every aspect of the castle's atmosphere. Raon's thoughts turned to Judiel, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration for her perceptive abilities. This all matches with the information that Judiel told me before, he thought. Despite likely never having set foot in the castle, Judiel had seemingly pieced together an accurate picture of the situation in a remarkably short amount of time. As Raon and Dorian followed Tyrion into the castle, a young girl with vibrant red hair caught sight of them. She was holding a basket of groceries and couldn't help but notice the duo's arrival. Her eyes lingered on Raon and Dorian, her expression filled with wonder. She thought to herself, I don't think I've ever seen them around here. I wonder who they are. Are they mercenaries? You a branch of Frost employee? Yua's gaze was interrupted as she turned to face the old man, who had spoken up from nearby. What are you doing over there, Yua? Let's go prepare to open the shop, he said, his voice warm and familiar. Yua's expression changed to a bright smile as she replied, Ah, I'm coming, grandfather. As Yua walked away with her grandfather, Raon turned his head back to catch a glimpse of her. His eyes followed her retreating figure, and for a moment, he watched her disappear into the castle's bustle. Raon's gaze lingered for a brief instant, his expression thoughtful, before he turned back to follow Tyrion, who was still leading them deeper into the castle. As they reached their destination, Tyrion knocked on the door and announced, Commander, I'm entering. I've brought the previously mentioned mercenaries. I mean, the trainees of Sieghart. With that, he pushed open the door and led Raon and Dorian into the room. Commander's voice was deep and authoritative as he spoke. Welcome, you are the trainees from Sieghart. He introduced himself with a nod, his eyes never leaving Raon and Dorian. I'm the commander of the castle, Britain. Raon's eyes widened slightly in surprise, and he thought to himself, so he knew that we're from Sieghart. As he looked at the commander, he thought, and that man is the famous Britain. Raon's thoughts continued to flow as he regarded Commander Britain. He's called the Giant of the North, and he's the protector who has been defending Haben Castle for over 20 years. Rath's voice echoed in Raon's mind. He is a proper general, one the King of Essence hasn't seen in a while. Raon's eyes widened in surprise as he mentally asked Rath, You also feel it? Rath's response was immediate. Indeed, only generals who have stood their ground for dozens of years have that look in their eyes. Commander Milan's voice was firm as he spoke. The people in this room are the only people who know about your identities. Your status will be kept secret from the others. Commander Milan's words hung in the air. I'm also aware of the reason why Limer dispatched you here. He must have been hoping for you to gain lots of experience. As the commander's words sank in, Raon and Dorian exchanged a shocked glance. Commander Britain's voice took on a grave tone as he continued, However, there will be no training or education here. There won't be any kind instructors or warm meals and beds. All that exists here are endless battles and cold winds that seep into your bones. His eyes bore into Raon and Dorian, his gaze intense. You should turn back now if you're looking for a comfortable life. Just as it seemed like Dorian was about to take the commander's offer to leave, Raon swiftly intervened, his hand grasping Dorian's arm in a firm but restraining grip. Dorian's words were cut off mid-sentence as Raon's voice took over, steady and resolute. We came here to get stronger, we'll accept any battlefield or situation. A hint of a smile played on Commander Milan's lips as he spoke. I like your attitude, at least. I'll be watching how long your attitude is going to last. Commander Milan's voice continued. Your rank is going to be that of a soldier from now on. Start from the lowest rank. Raon and Dorian stood silently, their faces set in determined expressions as they absorbed every word the commander said. Commander Milan Britton called out to one of his subordinates, Charles. These two will be added to the 3rd scouting party. Charles responded with a crisp, understood. Milan's instructions continued. Let them do all kinds of jobs, from the chores to battles. His gaze swept over Raon and Dorian, his expression unyielding. Guide them to their lodgings for now. Charles nodded at Commander Milan Britton before turning to Raon and Dorian. We'll be taking our leave, he said, his tone firm but polite. With a gesture, he indicated for them to follow him. Follow me, you two. Raon and Dorian fell into step behind Charles, their eyes scanning their surroundings as they walked out of the commander's presence. As they left, the room fell silent. Tyrion and Commander Milan Britton stood there, their gazes fixed on the departing figures of Raon and Dorian. Tyrion's sudden statement hung in the air. I don't like them. Commander Milan Britton's eyebrow arched in surprise as he turned to Tyrion, asking, What don't you like? Tyrion's voice carried a note of disapproval as he shared his assessment with Commander Milan Britton. As you saw, that Dorian fellow was limp because of fear. The other one, Raon, was too relaxed as if he's here to play around. Tyrion's tone turned critical. Rather than be of any help, they're just going to cause trouble. Tyrion's disapproval deepened, his voice laced with skepticism. Moreover, Raon was even wearing a flower bracelet around his wrist. I can't see him as a warrior at all. His gaze locked onto Milan's, his eyes conveying a sense of concern. It's not too late to make them leave. Commander Milan Britton's voice cut through the air, his tone firm but measured. I understand what you are saying, but you shouldn't judge people by their appearance. Milan's voice carried a hint of conviction. They passed all of Sieghart's training, which is notorious for its difficulty. Before they came here, they aren't as naive as they look. Commander Milan Britton's expression remained firm, his voice calm and authoritative. It won't be too late to decide after observing their behavior, so just watch them for now. His words were a clear directive, leaving Tyrion no room for argument. Tyrion's response was laced with a hint of guilt. Understood. Commander Milan Britton's brow furrowed in puzzlement as he continued, rather than that, I don't understand why they asked me to send them information about those two every 2 weeks. Tyrion's eyes lit up with curiosity, and he asked, was that in the letter sent by head instructor Lemmer? Commander Milan Britton's response was straightforward. No, the letter was sent from Sieghart's Lord's Manor. Tyrion's eyes widened in shock and surprise as he repeated, the Lord's Manor? Tyrion's voice was laced with a mix of awe and trepidation as he continued, that means did the Northern Conqueror personally make that request? Commander Milan Britton's nod confirmed Tyrion's suspicion. Yes. Milan's expression turned serious. He asked me to tell him everything about what they did and how they acted. His tone conveyed a sense of unease. This is my first time getting a request like this. Milan's words hung in the air, heavy with implication, as he added, he even asked me to describe it in detail. Milan's expression deepened into a frown, his voice laced with confusion. I don't understand what the Northern Conqueror is thinking. Raon's eyes widened in surprise as he took in the newly decorated room. Dorian, you. He paused, his gaze scanning the space, before focusing on Dorian with a questioning expression. When did you decorate the room so much? Dorian's face lit up with a warm smile as he pointed towards the room. I did it while you went to the restroom, young master. Raon's eyes scanned the room, and his expression turned thoughtful as he recalled the space's previous state. To himself, he thought, I'm pretty sure this was a gloomy room until a moment ago. Raon's hand grasped the golden curtain, and he turned to Dorian with a questioning expression. Where did you even get those from? And what's this golden curtain? Dorian's face lit up with joy as he replied, I prepared them in advance in the bag. Raon's eyes widened in surprise. Don't tell me you bought them in different colors. Dorian's playful smile grew wider as he replied, Of course I did. They're necessities. Red, yellow, green. Just tell me what you prefer. Dorian's enthusiasm continued. Do you need anything else? Raon's eyes widened in shock as he thought to himself, what the hell is that bag? The man's sudden entrance caught Raon and Dorian off guard, and they turned to him in unison, their expressions a mix of surprise and curiosity. The man's question, recruits, have you finished unpacking your luggage? Raiden's introduction was brief and to the point. My name is Raiden, the leader of the 3rd scouting party, which you've been assigned to. His gaze swept over Raon and Dorian, his expression serious. It must be hectic since you've only just arrived, but get ready to head out. Raiden's smile seemed to soften the abruptness of his words. We've been ordered to move out. His tone was firm, but the smile added a hint of warmth, as if to reassure them that this was just part of their duties. Despite the smile, the gravity of the situation was clear, and Raon and Dorian likely understood that their mission or task was not one to be delayed. Friends, the chapter ends here. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you're eager to find out what happens next, please do comment below, asking for more chapters. Don't forget to show your support by liking and subscribing. Until next time, stay tuned.